do you want to hear about a cool, weird science thing?
I absolutely do.
Excellent. So, plastic.
I have come across it in my time once or twice. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an unusual concept, but it's
Hmm.
part of our lives in literally everything now.
Sure.
Yeah, so plastic usually made with petroleum,
Sure.
usually.
Okay.
Bioengineers all over the world for years now have been working to make plastic producing microbes. So we're talking bacteria
Hmm.
that makes plastic.
Absolutely.
It's going to take over. We're a step closer to this now. And
Are
the
we?
way that we've gotten closer is so weird and
Yes.
cool and connected to me personally.
Is
You
it
are
you?
going to love this. No, I know. I'm not
Are
taking
you?
credit for the
No, no,
plastic
that's not what I
producing
meant. No,
bacteria.
no. Hey, Ray, I would never. I was simply asking if you are plastic producing bacteria.
No, but I do have something in common with the plastic producing bacteria.
Okay.
Up until now, the plastic that the bacteria has been able to make has been pretty weak.
Mm.
Most of the plastic that you use for packaging and industry, they've got these little ring structures in them that make it strong and stop them from melting in the sun. So you
Sure.
can
Not
leave
ideal.
things in your car and they don't melt onto your dashboard. So the researchers have been trying to get the bacteria to make these little rings. And there's a
Hmm.
very good reason why this has been hard. Tangent. Do you remember when I wrote a series for Lifehacker back in the day that was following the diets of people that lived to over the age of 100
Yes,
for
I
a whole
do.
year?
Yes,
So,
you know why I remember this, Ray? A couple of reasons. Number one, I remember the month that you were eating just an aggressive amount of bacon, and and you can explain that one to listeners. And also, I remember that doing this made you allergic to garlic and onion until recently. I'm pretty sure.
yes, correct. So,
Yeah.
turns out following the diets of communities or individuals that have lived to over 100 every month and then just drastically switching your diet and then ending
Mm.
up on a woman who absolutely trolled the media by telling them that she lived on half a kilo of bacon a day, which my
Hmm.
doctor medically removed me from,
All right.
completely ruined my gut bacteria. So
Yeah.
I
It
wasn't.
wasn't producing any plastic anymore.
No, what it wasn't producing, Tegan, was a specific enzyme that broke down the alliums. So
Mm.
what we're talking garlic, onion, leeks. I couldn't break them down anymore. My gut couldn't do it. It didn't have the enzymes.
Oh, until wasn't there something like again? I still feel like this was pretty recently. The like last couple of years, is that the CSIRO had come out with something that you were calling your magic powder that you would sprinkle on things, and people would look at you weird.
It was Monash University. They developed a
Oh,
product called Fodzyme,
mm.
and they released it to the market before they had even refined the packaging or anything. So you had to carry around this big jar of suspicious looking powder
It
and
was
then
very
sprinkle
sus.
it on your food at events. And I'm hosting fancy events with CEOs of major tech companies sitting with me going, "What is that you are doing to
And
your
can I
dinner right
snort
now?"
some? Because they're CEOs of tech companies. That is a
Look,
joke for legally. That is a joke
for legal
my.
purposes.
Yeah.
That is a joke. That is a joke. But what the Monash University researchers had done was develop the enzyme that I was missing in my gut bacteria, so I could put it back in, and I could digest all this stuff again. And over time, I ended up healing myself. Do you know what enzyme bacteria is missing, Tegan?
I don't, because I had a very aggressively boring science teacher at school and I never recovered from that.
Oh, great.
And so
Okay.
I'm only catching up on a love of science now, mostly through you. So
I
please
love
tell
that
me.
so much. Bacteria, specifically E. coli, which is what they're using to make this plastic, uh, is allergic to plastic. The plastic is toxic to it.
Oh my God. Plastic is toxic in so many ways that we didn't even realize.
That's why it's been making such weak plastic. It has an actual intolerance to it.
It is you, but
Yes.
bacteria. Oh my God.
Basically, the plastic gives E. coli IBS. It's the equivalent of bacterial IBS from the plastic. So, researchers, scientists, being the absolute smart legends that they are,
Mm-hmm.
they mapped out an entire process using computer simulations to create a mix of enzymes that they created from other microorganisms. So they've synthesized a unique enzyme to give to E. coli bacteria
Oh,
so that it's not intolerant to plastic anymore.
oh, it's giving them a little cocktail to take.
Yeah,
It's getting
given
its own magic powder.
the bacteria's got its own magic powder.
Oh, and all
so-
the other like CEO bacteria are just like, what are you doing? What are you putting on your food?
Can I snort your magic powder, bacteria? So now that
Yo,
bacteria
you got some of that E. coli.
it can produce and tolerate all of that plastic and all of its
bless.
building blocks, so it can start to make those little rings that it hasn't been able to do to make the plastic stronger. And it's going to change the world,
Aw.
because manufacturing plastic is awful, and the plastic that the bacteria can make, this is one of the best bits, it's biodegradable.
I love that. But also, I'm sorry, I was distracted by the idea of the bacteria having to disclose what its dietaries are up until this point. And now it no longer has to, and I love that. No, anything in this area is so interesting. There's this
Yeah.
Australian company out of WA called Ulu. They're a startup that are doing really interesting stuff in the alternative plastics, and they're using brewing techniques from like beer
Oh.
and wine industry. That's super cool. We should talk to them more and talk about them more on the podcast in the future. But
Yeah, let's
there's
get them
very
on.
we should, and there's very cool things happening in this space. I love it.
No, I think that biomanufacturing is very, very interesting. It's a really, really weird space, I must say. Like the things that they're doing, like I would never think to get a bacteria that is intolerant to plastic and try to make it make plastic, but they've gone and done it. It's
They
kind
did
of
it.
mean to the bacteria in a way.
I don't want it. It makes me bloated. Please stop.
It makes me bloated and sad. And they're like,
I said
"Make the
almond."
plastic, eat the plastic, produce the plastic. But yeah, now they've got basically the equivalent of Fodzyme, which is what I had to take for many, many years. So I feel like I have a connection with E. coli now.
You should. And tell me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not a science brain, but I make connections between words. Is Fodzyme the reason that there's FODMAP?
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
so
oh,
yeah,
yay.
like the FODMAP diet, because
Yeah.
MAP stands for fermentable
Mm-hmm.
oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols.
Well, now we know why they call it FODMAP.
Yeah. So they're carbohydrates, short chain carbohydrate sugars that the small intestine doesn't absorb very well. So when
Yes,
you go
right.
on a low FODMAP diet, you're avoiding all of those. And yeah, it's also what's found in all of the alliums. So I needed to go on the FODMAP diet for a while, and then I got that powder and it fixed me. And I'm
That's
never
so good.
doing a diet challenge again.
No, never need to do
Ever.
that again, ever.
No.
I was put on it, or maybe something like it in the 90s when I was a kid, because I was just getting really sick, breaking out. And I was pretty little, so I don't remember the
Yeah.
particulars. But according to my parents, like I was on soy milk, and this is bad. This is 90s soy milk. Like,
Oh
this-
no, it was
bueno.
basically chalk.
Yeah. There was like one brand, and I lost so much weight and got so sick that it wasn't even medically removed. It was just parental removed from this diet. And as it turns out, I think I just had something like way too much Easter chocolate at one time, and had like something had happened around it and ended up unwell. So weird that as soon as I just had a moderate amount of everything, it was actually okay for people. Now look, there are very, very real allergies out there. Mine was not, clearly.
No.
But yeah, good reason for people like us to not have to do diets like that ever again.
And now I can eat a moderate amount of garlic, which is all of it.
Yeah. You're not doing that thing that we all do where you're on like recipe tin eats and it's like, oh, 2 cloves of garlic. I'm like, so 7. Fantastic.
Yes,
thank you.
absolutely 7. Whatever I've got left in the bowl, it goes in and it goes.